Welcome back to the show today. We are talking about overrated NBA players and underrated NBA players. What does it even mean to be overrated? Who's rating these players? It's not like there's an actual grade for their basketball skill. Well, actually, they kind of do, don't they? They have their NBA 2K rating. It's literally a scale from 0 to 100 like you get in school. Well, who sets these ratings? Is it based on stats? No, it's a guy. It's a guy that decides. Well, a guy and his team. It's a guy named Michael Stauffer, who's the producer of the game. He even puts himself in the game as a coach with insane stats. Well, does he do a good job of setting the players' stats? Is he some type of basketball expert? Sure, kind of, but he does make mistakes here and there. For instance, Klay Thompson received an 89 in NBA 2K20. Klay said that he believes he should have at least been a 90. He even called the marketing director, Ronnie 2K, a clown for giving him such a bad rating. Which is funny because Ronnie doesn't set the rating. Michael Stauffer does. And it seems like every year there's someone that has a problem with their 2K rating. This year it was OG Anunoby, who was rated 87 overall. He believes he should have been a 92. He even confronted Ronnie 2K to his face and made the case that he should have had a higher rating.
OG comes up to me and talks my ear off for a half an hour. I'm an 87. I should be at least a 92. I'm like, damn. Wow. Well, his argument was like, we skew offensively a little bit more than defensively.
Respect to OG for actually finding the guy and then explaining his case to him. So this year, are there any overrated NBA 2K players? Yes, there are. And usually these discrepancies come up when comparing two players against each other. Celtics fans believe that Jayson Tatum should have a higher rating than Anthony Edwards. Now, listen, Tatum is a 94 and Anthony Edwards is a 95. It's literally 1 point. Who gives a But when you look at the overall list, Anthony Edwards is a couple places higher than Jayson Tatum. Let's take a look and see if Celtics fans are onto something. Is Anthony Edwards overrated? Let's compare his stats to Jayson Tatum. Well, Tatum averaged more points than Anthony Edwards in the playoffs, but Ant averaged more points in the regular season. Ant averaged more steals and blocks than Tatum did, but Tatum had more assists and rebounds. Let's look at advanced stats though. Let's see who had the best player impact estimate, a stat that helps us determine who has the most impact on an individual game. Tatum does have a little bit better impact score, so maybe Anthony Edwards is a little high. Maybe Tatum got shafted. Well, not necessarily, because there's also this attribute called intangibles, and Tatum's is higher, which by definition is subjective. Intangibles, it means nothing. Tatum got 5 more points of a totally BS attribute. They also have the same outside shooting score, and Anthony Edwards is a way better 3-point shooter than Jayson Tatum. Also, a lot of these stats like strength, agility, speed with ball, passing IQ, they seem kind of random. Like, how would you actually know who's better at those? So I don't believe that the NBA 2K rating is an actual measurement of a player's talent, but that's not going to stop NBA players from getting butthurt about it. So I think it's important that we don't confuse overrated players with overpaid players. Those are two different things. As a matter of fact, overpaid players have kind of become underrated. Think about a guy like Zion Williamson or LaMelo Ball. Those are some of the highest paid players in the league, and they've become jokes, mostly because they're constantly injured. Zion a little more injured than LaMelo, but then LaMelo has never even made it to the playoffs. The most postseason LaMelo has ever seen is 2 playing games, and he lost both of them. These guys are also untradeable as well. Their contracts are just too expensive for any team to really be interested. There's always talks of these guys getting traded, but we've never seen an actual proposal. That being said, I think these guys are kind of underrated at this point. The perception of Zion is that he's out of shape and he's a disappointment and he's always causing off-court drama, and he has punctuality problems. So much so that sometimes I think we forget that Zion is a really gifted athlete. And then we have LaMelo, who's seen as all style and no substance, who only plays half the season. But LaMelo is one of the best scorers in the NBA. And in my opinion, I think he's one of the most fun players to watch. So it sucks. The first thing you think about when you think of these players is how much of a disappointment they are. Because if you remember, they're actually good. So then obviously another way a player can be overrated is how much they're just celebrated in the NBA. There are certain players that always struck me as just big time stat guys, but I've just never felt like they were winners. And maybe this is just my opinion. One player I've always kind of thought was overrated is Damian Lillard. And now listen, when I'm saying that, I'm not saying Damian Lillard isn't a good player. I'm saying he's a great player. But his teams, his fans, and the NBA as a whole, I think overvalue him and have his entire career. Damian Lillard is 10th in the NBA when it comes to career earnings. He was on the same size contract as Steph Curry for 6 years. He's never been as efficient as Curry. He doesn't move off the ball like Curry. He doesn't defend as well as Curry. And of course, he hasn't had the postseason success that Curry has had. I think a lot of the hype that's generated for Dame comes after his time with LaMarcus Aldridge, when he was the only star in Portland when he was getting all the shots. We're gonna remember his playoff buzzer beaters, especially the one he shot over Paul George, knocking out the Oklahoma City Thunder in 2019. But he's still a 6'1" guard who doesn't play defense, and he's only worth his paycheck if he has the ball in his hands. I honestly think that Blazers fans deserve a lot of credit for inflating the Dame Time brand. Blazers fans glazed Damian Lillard so hard that no one saw his flaws. Now, the Bucks found out that Damian Lillard was overrated pretty quick. In September 2023, they traded away an unprotected pick and 2 pick swaps for him. Also, Grayson Allen and Drew Holiday. They didn't think Holiday was a good scoring option anymore. And they wanted to prove to Giannis that they were willing to make sacrifices for him by trading for one of the NBA's best scorers. The problem was, like I said, Damian Lillard likes to have the ball in his hands. He likes to dribble. He likes to drive. He likes to pull up and shoot 3-pointers from really far away. Well, that didn't work because Giannis is the point guard in Milwaukee. He wants that ball. Dame was not used to moving off the ball and being a spot-up shooter. That's not how he played. Giannis also didn't want to be pick-and-roll partners with Dame. Giannis isn't very good at setting screens for some reason. So the Bucks lost the defense they had with Drew Holiday. They lost a spot-up wing with Grayson Allen, and they got a 25 points per game scorer when they paid for a 32 points per game scorer. And to add injury to insult, Damian Lillard tore his Achilles in the playoff this year. And to add more insult to that injury, Drew Holiday won the championship the year after he was traded. Now, the Blazers have bought back into their own pump and dump scheme. The Bucks released Damian Lillard this summer, and the Blazers have re-signed him to one of the most boneheaded deals I've ever seen. It makes no sense. Now, I'm not trying to be mean, but Damian Lillard is one of the luckiest sons of in NBA history. Not only does he get to keep the rest of the money from that Bucks deal when he was released, the Blazers signed him to a 3-year, $41 million deal. The first year is for $14 million. That $14 million is down the drain. They will get no value for that. Damian Lillard will not play a single game next season. He's recovering from his Achilles injury. Then the second year, he's getting $13.5 million, which may sound like a good deal, but let me contextualize it for you. Damian Lillard will be 36 years old, and he'll be coming off of an Achilles injury. Makes $13.5 million feel a little bit more appropriate. Now, here is the worst part of the deal. The third year is $14 million, but it's a player option. So let's say Dame comes back and he has a really good season his second year. His Achilles heals perfectly. He's explosive. He's getting 20 points a game. Well, then he's going to turn down that player option and ask the Blazers for more money. He's either going to make the Blazers pay him more money or he's going to go sign somewhere else. The only person the last year that contract serves is Damian Lillard. If he has a good season, he can turn it down and get more money. If he has a bad season, or God forbid he gets injured again, he can pick up that $14 million option and get paid $14 million even though he's not worth $14 million. Damian Lillard should do one of those masterclass.com things where he shows you how to build up a reputation. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Damian Lillard is awesome and there's just something I'm not seeing. Now, I think the players that are often underrated are the big men. I feel like they never get enough respect. Obviously, the most important facet of basketball is scoring. But at this point, I think it's a little bit over-indexed. Guys like Zubac and Valanciunas are hardly ever talked about and usually underpaid. I think the biggest example of this is Jarrett Allen. Jarrett Allen is making $20 million next year, and for reference, John Morant and OG Anunoby are making double that. Jarrett Allen finished 11th in rebounds this year. He averaged 13.5 points per game, and he had the league's best field goal percentage at 70%. Also, the man played all 82 games. Now, a player like Jarrett Allen obviously can't be the best player on your team. They just don't have enough on offense to win games for their team. But shot blocking and defensive rebounds are a very overlooked side of basketball. Easy buckets win games, and if you don't have a trusty rim protector on your side of the floor, easy buckets are going to lose you games. Offensive rebounds will also lose you games. If you're letting the other team get second chance points, they don't have to shoot half as well. So it's funny to me, a lot of the acquisitions that really help NBA teams do well in the playoffs aren't from blockbuster trades. They're done by acquiring underrated players that they find in the bargain bin. Players who aren't stars, but they do fill a specific need for a team. All right, thank you for being here. Can you do me the kindness? Can you like the video for me? Also, if you watch every week, why don't you just subscribe? Just do it for me then. Also, there's a Patreon. Check out the Patreon. It's super cheap. It's a podcast. It's every Saturday. And it's good. Be good to your mothers. Eat a corn dog.